camera friends.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network here on YouTube. And I am so excited to be here with my pal, PT McEwen.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, PT. Good to see you.
Good to see
We
you
missed
too.
you last week. I struggled with the visuals, which,
Sorry
by the
about
way,
that.
thank you for setting those up. So for those of you who are new to the Brickanista Broadcast Network, PT and I have been doing this show for LEGOMasters Season 2, and he's been working on all of the visuals that we go through for the show. And he wasn't here last week, so he prepared it for me. And I had another laptop, and I was running it, and there were many times where I was like zooming in and I didn't zoom in right. And I said, I'm so glad you're back, PT. So good to have you.
It just adds some spice to the show. So
yeah, it just shows you that it is live, right? That we're doing this live. And yeah, I guess I could go back and edit it out, but I really, really thank you for all the work that you put into this, because some people might be saying, so, how do you two work on this? And a lot of it is my role has been to get the guests and schedule the guests and make sure that we know who's coming. And that's why we're really excited that today we're doing a special episode, because we normally stream on Friday afternoons at 5 p.m. But if we were to do that for our current guest, I think he would be at like 3 a.m, something crazy like that. So it was like, okay, well, can you do Saturday? And he said, yes, we could do Saturday. And so that's why we have a special time today. So we normally don't stream on Saturday, and then I mentioned this to PT, and PT said, yeah, I'm available that day too. And you worked on the visuals for this episode as well. And I'm so thankful that you're here helping me with this. And you missed out last week because Whippy Whipster was here. I don't know if you know Whippy.
I saw that.
Yeah, Whippy Whipster, who is from New Zealand, and he's on Twitch. And I normally have not had Twitch streamers come over to YouTube, but he was wearing his All Black shirt last week because I don't know if you follow rugby, but the All Blacks won last week against South Africa. So I think I'd wear this to kind of celebrate. And next week, I think they're playing Australia, so it's going to be a big game.
Well, but, I will say the minimal sports knowledge I have is that the Women's World Cup's being hosted by New Zealand, and I believe with Australia as well. And the USA won last night. The USA women's beat Vietnam 3-0. So that's my sports knowledge. I'm done for the year.
Well, also New Zealand won also.
They did.
For the other football. I have to say that right. Football,
yes.
Well, so glad to have you here. And in the green room, what we have is a special guest who's all the way from Denmark, who's joining us today. Please help me welcome to the stream, Carsten Jensen.
Hey,
how are you guys doing?
Yora, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Oh, doing well. And right before the stream, we were talking about just where we're located. And I'm right now in just north of Portland in Vancouver, Washington. And PT is in Southern California. And you're coming to us from Denmark. So
I am.
Yes.
I am now actually based in Billund.
Oh, how cool.
Wow,
how
very
cool
nice.
I know. But today I'm actually visiting my friend in Odense, which is where Hans Christian Andersen, if you have read The Little Ugly Duck, he's from.
Oh, wow.
So
well, and thank you for making the time to chat with us, because as you are traveling and doing some other things, and we were saying, we really want to get you on the schedule. Let's see how we can do this. And I'm just really curious, too, about how everybody knows that you're part of the new alliance with you and with
Angus.
Yeah.
And so would you tell us a little bit about the backstory about, you entered, okay, I'll start by saying somebody told me you also had applied for Denmark at one point.
And I went all the way to the casting. In Denmark,
Wow.
There's group casting on Saturday, and then on Sunday, you are matched up with people that have applied by themselves. And I was matched up with a guy, and we did really well. I think we did good, but unfortunately didn't make it. But the day on the casting, there was designers from Lego walking around, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, did you apply for the New Zealand LEGOMasters as well?" And I'm like, "You mean the Australian one?" And he was like, "No, the New Zealand one. They're looking for..." Yeah. And I'm like, "Really?" So of course, straight after the casting in Denmark, I went online and I saw it. But yeah, in New Zealand, you can't apply by yourself. You have to find a teammate. So I went on a Lego group on Facebook from New Zealand, and there was a few guys I had a chat with, and but they were spread all over New Zealand, and I'm based in Auckland, so I picked a guy from Auckland. And so we went through to the process. And well, at that time I was actually in Denmark, so I never met the guy. And then when I returned back to New Zealand, I have to be in 2 weeks isolation in a hotel.
Right, because of COVID.
At that time, Auckland went in lockdown for a few months, so they couldn't do the casting where you go in and build together. And then of course during that time things change, where you have to have vaccine and other things. And the teammate that I basically was meant to go with didn't want the vaccine.
Oh, okay.
So he had to pull out. And I was really sad. I'm like, this is a one-off opportunity. Like, oh my God.
And you're at the hotel at this time.
At that time, I was in lockdown at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they kick you out after 2 weeks. It's a lot of money you pay for the hotel.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So your teammate said, "I don't want the vaccine." Yeah. Was your teammate...
It's part of the culture. He was a Maori guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's something with the culture. They don't do the vaccine, and so I respect for that. But yeah, I was really sad, and I called the casting team, and they said, "Oh, hang on, we might have something else." And it turns out that Angus' teammate also pulled out. So apparently they liked us both, and they said, "Hey, why don't you chat together? And it's your choice if you want to go for the casting and see how far you go." And yeah, we made it.
Very nice.
And congratulations. That's quite an accomplishment. And also you're very persistent, since you also had applied in Denmark as well. And to make it to New Zealand, to be based, I guess, in two different places, because you were a flight attendant at the time, is that right?
Yes, I was a flight attendant during the COVID, and it's a funny thing, my mom was actually in New Zealand. And we were meant to go to Bali in March, but of course that's where COVID hit Europe and all the flights cancelled. My sister was meant to come to Bali and then bring my mom back to Denmark. All that couldn't happen. So basically, I couldn't bring mom back. And we called the consulate, and they said, "Oh, stay in New Zealand. It's safe. Everything is great." So my mom actually ended up staying.
Hey, if you're going to be stuck someplace, New Zealand's a pretty good place to be stuck, right?
Yeah, well, so 3 months ended up with 7 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
At that time, of course, the airlines, they really struggled, and I put my hand up to take leave without pay. So that's where, I think it was in July, Emirates, they start opening up again in New Zealand, and I got one of the first flight out and brought mom back to Denmark. And then I got back to Denmark, and then they locked down for second time.
Oh, no.
And that's where I rediscovered Lego, because I was basically stuck in my mom's basement, and I found all my old Lego.
Oh, wow.
So, I read that story about how, are you just coming out of your dark ages? I mean, where you said you rediscovered Lego. So did you?
Well, I mean, I was a big fan when I was, I think I got my first Lego set. There was a little police car, number 600, when I was around 6 years old. And I didn't want to grow up. I mean, I was playing with Lego till I was 18, and I really, really want a job with Lego. But that time, you have to have a really good education, and you have to be an architect and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you have to have your
I went into the fashion industry instead. So I've always been like a creative person, and I must say, since then, 18, I haven't actually bought any Lego or anything.
Wow.
So when I first came back to Denmark, and of course, one of the first places I visited was Lego House, and I see all these bricks with stud on the side, and I'm like, what is all this about?
That's right, because when stud's not on top, or we call it snot, it's interesting. You called it studs on the side. So do they call it SOS over there?
I don't know
No, I'm serious. Do they call it studs on the side over there?
No. I think that's me.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the
exact. You could have a new term. You could say SOS.
Oh, I like that. SOS.
SOS. We'll start making it a thing, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Hashtag
so many bricks I had to familiar with, but I really like the. I always like the art form of Lego, and I like to make sculptures. And I saw a few guys doing bending bricks, and I absolutely loved it. So I started doing that at Lego House. So when I returned to Denmark, I was basically just 100 meters from Lego House. So bought a season pass. I was in there 26 times during the summer.
Wow.
And I did a lot of artworks in there, and they were actually the ones that forced me and told me, you should apply for LEGOMasters. I'm like, no. So, I picked it up in 2020. That's where I got back into it.
Wow.
So it sounds like you were in your dark ages, and then you rediscovered Lego in your mom's basement. Then because you were in the proximity of the Lego house, you had the chance to keep going there and get inspired. And that was kind of the spark that got you to start applying. That is so
cool. And of course, watching the LEGOMasters, from Australia and US, there have already been, I think, 2 seasons from Australia and 1 from US.
Right.
And the Danish season 1 was just on the air at that time as well. So, it was all like, ooh, can I?
Well, and you kind of alluded to this too, that when you filmed that you were season 2, but because Robin came from Canada, they filmed both season 1 and season 2 at the same time.
Correct.
And so you had to keep quiet about being on the show for a long time, like a year, right, before you could actually announce that you were on the show. Yeah. So how was that like for you?
Actually, it was quite, well, I don't know if it was easy, but I actually, after the filming, I went straight back to Denmark. So I was actually away from New Zealand. So all my friends there, they didn't ask me any questions because I was far away.
Right.
But of course, there was family members in Denmark that knew about it, and I thought, it's probably safe here. So I told my mom and my sister,
well, family, of course, that's like.
But I never told what happened.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think too, if I understand correctly, that you had mentioned before we went live that there were days when you were filming that you were like back-to-back days, and that was also something that I think it might be different in the U.S. because of labor laws, that I don't think that they can film the same way you did in New Zealand. But can you share that with us too, about a little bit about?
Well, unfortunately, we were filming during the COVID, and some teammates, got COVID, and then actually twice we had to stop. We had to stop the production.
Oh wow.
So what was it? So episode 6, I think. That's where we came back after the second lockdown. And during that lockdown, it was basically the show was meant to finish the day before Easter.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, that was only 7 days for Easter. So it's like, what's going to happen? No one knew. And we were all thinking about, oh, probably there's only going to be like 2 more episodes. But the production team came out and they're like, no, we're going to film all 9 episodes. So we need 4 more.
Wow.
How can we do this best way?
No.
And they asked if we could stay longer over Easter. And I think Angus and I think I think we mentioned we could stay another 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
But some people had to go home to families and stuff.
Of course, yeah.
So
the
they decided the best way for everyone was just keep going, and we ended up basically filming 4 episodes in 10 days.
Wow!
Oh my
no
goodness!
Breaks in between.
Oh wow! So you had that added stress on top of just being on the show and having cameras following you around, but the added stress of having to film so many different builds on back to back. Wow.
Yeah, it was tough, I must say. And I thought it might come through the program, but they have really cut it well. I don't because we were exhausted. Trust me.
I was gonna say that
it shows in this episode.
Does it? Okay.
Oh yeah. There's everyone's kind of dragging, and you see some people just like, I am literally just saying, I'm tired. I need a break.
Yeah. Totally.
Wow. Well, speaking of which, we have some visuals, and I was mentioning this at the top of the hour about how PT has done a really good job of putting together the visuals for each episode. And we're now on episode 7, so we only have 3 more episodes to finish the series.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So, we took the liberty of putting your headshot in there too.
That's all right.
That's all right.
I was going to say, we didn't ask your permission, but you are kind of reviewing this with us.
Yeah. No, so
no, I actually went to casting with a hat. And they said, whatever you're wearing for the casting, that's how you should be at the program. And if I knew that it would be so hot in the studio, I would never have worn a hat. Well, of course, what you don't see, pretty much every half an hour, the makeup lady, she's coming like this.
Here, I'm going to give you full screen. So go ahead and do that again. So what
was
the person doing?
My sweat was just dripping down, and she would come here and dry. Well, oh my God. But I was also running around like a crazy chicken. So,
what's interesting is you mentioned about the hat. And we had another guest from season 3, Yo-Yo Firebricks.
Season 3 North America.
Stephen Yo. Yes. And he said he wanted to wear a baseball cap, and they wouldn't let him because of the shadows on his face. And when he saw you on your show, he was like, what? They let him wear a hat? Yeah, he was very envious of you. So hopefully the 2 of you can meet sometime, but he's from Canada. And he wears a baseball cap all the time. He's one of the firefighters from the firefighting team. So when he saw your hat, he was fit to be tied. He was just like, oh man, I should have been filming in New Zealand. I could have worn a baseball cap.
Yeah. The only thing was when we were doing, the video in the green room, they always asked me to lift up my hat like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
so then that way you don't have the shadows, like right?
Yeah,
that would make sense. Okay. Well, it's your look, and that's why you're wearing it for our interview too.
Actually, I wear a hat 24/7, pretty much.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes.
Well, this show, episode 7, was a lot of fun to watch because it was.
Well, I'm glad you like watching it. It was not that fun.
No, it was just, I thought it was very unique because I don't think anyone's done any of this. I don't know about Europe, but maybe they've done that there, but I haven't seen that, Technic-Ball or marble run, if you will. So we'll jump right in. I thought it was funny because setting setting the tone. You have Charlie just sliding right under the door before it even fully opened, coming out, and I was like, "Whoa!"
He is so much fun to watch, and I think there probably have been contestants who have wanted to do that, and he actually, decided to do that because the gate is going up so slowly, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Well, so you I don't know if you know, but this scene sometimes we have to do it 3, 4, 5 times.
right.
And there was actually one time he almost fell over and knocked himself into the gate.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it became his thing. I actually think he'd do it in one more episode.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, well, we're going to be interviewing him and Ollie in a couple weeks, but
Right.
I think it was just, and we'll have to ask how many times he had to do that, and when he hit his head on the door.
Yeah.
We heard from Karsten that you hit your head on the door. We have it recorded right here.
Yeah. How funny. So, yep. So there's the final 4 teams here going into episode 7. And I will let Naomi do the brief.
The brief. This is my thing. So in addition to getting the cast and the different guests, I get to do the brief slide. And the reason why we wanted this is that sometimes it wasn't really clear what the assignment was. And we've talked to other contestants that said, it would be nice if they just had a card on the side so you could always reference it. So in this case, it's called the time warp because you had an integrated build. Each one of you had a different theme. So the Stone Age, Medieval Age, Industrial Age, and the Space Age. And then the Technic Marble Run, which is much larger than a GBC type of marble, that this huge marble run had to go through time. So it went through all 4 of the stages. Yeah. And then they were looking for clever mechanisms. And then, of course, if you had a ball stop, then you would lose points for that. But also they looked at how long the ball continued on the run while it was in your section. And that was interesting to see how each of you interpreted that challenge, and that the winner of this challenge would go on to the final, which is like a free pass. Like, okay, you win this and then you get to go on. Straight and up. You had 11 hours to do it.
11. It felt like 5.
Wow.
Oh, because it went so fast. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Well, let's see. So then we have there's the Technic ball that they're talking about. Robin's holding that. Hold that up and said that's the ball that's going to go through everything. And then of course they had there's the 4 ages kind of in a stair step, and you can kind of see where the ball goes through each of those hoops, beginning and ending for each age. And so of course then you had to pick who was going to get what. And so Di presented these 4 canisters, each with a minifig, and Ollie and Charlie went first, and they pulled Space Age.
Space Age, yeah.
I like how they had these little tubes that
that pulled up.
Yeah, it's like you get.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And then of course Carsten and Angus came up next, and they ended up pulling Medieval Age. And then Andrew and Harry got the Industrial Age. And then Rachel and Jason got the Stone Age. And I didn't know, this just kind of came out of the blue with the episode. I didn't know that the golden brick or the power brick was going away. And so Andrew and Harry turned it in. But they got an advantage for that turn in. And that's this little lift mechanism that Robin and his team built for this challenge. So they got that. So it gave them a head start, supposedly, in the building. Yeah. So.
And that's dry ice, right? That they have for the tubes. Yeah. I just think that this particular show, compared to the US, they love dry ice. I think they use it almost for almost all the challenges, right?
Yeah, and they use it for the entry door,
the entry door, the power brick, the presentation of these. I just thought it was interesting that, and last week you missed this, Karsten, that we were talking about the demolition episode, and you don't wear any eye protection. In the US, they always had the contestants wear, those safety glasses.
Yeah.
It's like flying bricks. Yeah, it's okay, no problem.
It was flying.
Well, we were standing, I think, 5 or 6 meters behind. So
right. Yeah, I just think it was interesting, but New Zealand loves their dry ice.
That's all right. So we'll start off. Andrew and Harry, they had the industrial age, so they started doing this coal power plant. And then they have their first visit there with Di, just talking. You kind of see them with their scaffolding setting up and talking about. And you can see Harry's building with his what is that, the spinning thing, the wheel that he had. You'll see it later.
It was very cool.
Yeah, it was kind of like kind of goes back to GBC, lifting that ball up and spinning it around. Then of course Robin comes over, and Robin always kind of gives you that the truth bomb, or kind of corrects, course correction with them, with any team. And so he goes on and he talks about what they're doing and how they're going to integrate and whatnot. There's a little.
Go back one more, because the look on Harry's face there,
yeah,
really kind of shows how exhausted they are.
That is right there. Yep, you can see it.
You can see it right there. He's just like, oh, I just want to finish.
Don't give us any twist. Just let's get it going. And so that's kind of we got some building up there, a little more scaffolding coming in. You can kind of see where the marble run's kind of coming down, some of those ramps. Of course, everything changes. I know they had an issue putting the lift in the episode where they didn't measure.
Yeah, apparently they
didn't fit,
calculate exactly how big it was.
Yeah, and so they kind of had to move some things around. I thought that was tough and unfortunate, making big adjustments like that.
And then at the end, the wheel didn't work. So because they have moved too much around, I think.
Yeah, they couldn't fit everything. They couldn't fit it. So unfortunately, the wheel just spun, I think, in their final.
Yeah, it was a shame. It was such it's an amazing build. I love the idea.
Yeah, and they had a little power eye that helped kick the ball out at the bottom, which I thought was pretty cool.
I think in many of their builds, they were really overly ambitious with some things, like the balloon build, where they wanted the balloon to open up, and they couldn't end up with that. And it's almost like over-engineering in some cases.
I must say they are amazing builders, but I think they spend far too much time on all the mechanism, and unfortunately, in a lot of the challenges, it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
But they still, won a few challenges. So,
amazing building, and
I think
you can tell how talented they are. But I think it goes back to, if you're going to be on the show, it's good to have motion and different kinds of mechanisms in your build. But if you over-engineer it, then you end up maybe causing more problems for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I wish I have played with Technic Lego before the show, but I haven't. Never done any motors, nothing like it. And I do remember before the show, we actually get sent a file with all the robots and Technic. But what are you going to do? During lockdown, how can you get all this stuff to sit and practice at home?
Right.
So not our team thing.
Yeah.
But hey, we really love the aesthetics, and I think that was our strength.
Yeah, you definitely had a nice pairing of aesthetics and also strong building too.
Yeah, it was that artistic kind of touch. You guys, beautiful builds. it's interesting because I think I'd personally have the same issue. I like you guys. They go big at the show. They go really big, and I'm like, I love the detail. I love the smaller details and stuff. You can get a lot packed in, especially that's why I like Micropolis, because you can get a lot of little details into a little build.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes.
And that's how PT and I actually have done a couple collaborations in Micropolis.
Yeah.
So even though, we live so far away that when we come to a convention, we usually talk about, what are you bringing for Micropolis? And this is what I'm bringing. And we've done a couple things like that.
A few cool. So Rachel and Jason, they had the Stone Age.
Oh my God.
That's
my favorite.
Well, yeah. Their final product, I was actually impressed. My opinion is, I think Medieval and Stone Age, I think, were the hardest to do in my mind when I saw the challenge, because I thought with Space Age and Industrial, since it's already mechanical trying to move balls around, I said I can see that being built into it, and you wouldn't have to disguise it or hide it, or but yeah, I think you guys had the two hardest ages, the Medieval and Stone Age. So there they are again, Dai with his visit, and I was actually impressed. All the teams really dropped brick pretty fast at the beginning, and then they kind of pause and reorient and do things like that. It was interesting in this episode, because every time they showed up, there was a lot of brick already dropped on the table. So you can see there.
I think a lot of teams they struggle a little bit with time, and you have a vision, but with just 11 hours, and you have to have this mechanism working. You really have to jump some loops.
Right.
Well, for some teams.
Now we have
Maybe I should just say our team.
We have had Jason and Rachel on our show, and what was interesting is that they recreated this particular build for the Christchurch Brick Show, and they said that all the cast members except for you were there because you're all the way in Billund.
I know.
But,
I wish I went on. No, I missed. They had a Zoom meeting. I missed that because they moved it ahead of time. But then I called them on WhatsApp, and they were home with Rachel and Jason, and it was really great to see them all. I wish I was there.
Yeah.
But a bit far away for a brick show.
Yeah.
But now I've invited them all here to Denmark for scouting. Let's see how many is coming.
You've got the Lego house in your backyard, so that's a big motivation, right?
That is true.
Definitely.
That's too funny. Yeah, no, they rebuilt this. It's funny, they rebuilt a couple of their builds from the season.
Oh yeah, I saw the carrot as well. It was so cute.
Yeah. They had a smaller version, I think they said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many pictures from the brick show, but they're amazing builders.
Yeah. I will say I liked they did a nice job. I mean, I know you guys use track, but they used some track, but they did a really nice job of covering it up, like with the trees or the bones.
Amazing.
Yeah, which really turned out well in the end. Here's a
love that mouth.
More development and
skeleton. It's stunning.
Yeah.
Just the idea. I think the whole idea they made, it really captured the theme really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when you'll see the final product, I think it was really, really, really nice. Space Worm Feeder. So this is Ollie and Charlie, and they had Space Age, and they were feeding this giant space worm. So early on, they decided they're going to have this stepper, and Charlie went straight into that and started building it. Dai comes in and visits, and now you can see the steppers mostly built out. That 2-hole ramp and everything they're going into. It's interesting the color scheme because they're ground instead of space, thinking like moon or something. They went with very vibrant colors, which was a neat choice for the.
That's what I loved about their build. It was the color choice,
Yeah.
because you could have gone Mars, just all red and black with spaceship, or you could have gone classic, with the old.
Yep.
But they took it like to another level with amazing colors. But Ollie, oh my God, she put colors together just brilliantly,
Mm-hmm.
and that I love that about that build.
Yeah, and you're just talking about, you can see those colors and the little kind of the mushrooms, and of course the monster mouth fully pulled out. You can't quite see it here, but yeah, the inside of that mouth, how she with a darker pink and then the lighter pink, and it was really nice.
We have a group of people who like lavender. Debo and myself and a couple other people, we often will build lavender builds and bring them to shows. Like I have a black and lavender seahorse that and now I'm going to repurpose it for a new collab we're doing for Tricky Lug. But when I saw the lavender moonscape, it was just like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
You would love that. And the thing about Charlie is his mind, when it comes to Technic, he already has, like when he did the globe, that Christmas globe, I mean, I think it only took him a few minutes to really come up with the idea, and he ran to the brick pit, and it's like, here we go. We got this little globe cage that he's going to work on. It's just amazing how quick and how his mind works. So putting this Technic stepper together, it looked like he was able to do it pretty quickly too.
Saying that they did win the challenge beforehand, where they were told what to expect for this show, so they knew it was a ball run.
Right. So they did have a chance to think about it before it was announced.
Yeah, but of course, to come up with this idea is one thing, of course. But
to execute it is another.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. So this is episode 7. So between 6 and 7, you just didn't have any downtime. It was just they ended it.
No, often we'll be home by 8 in the evening, and then we have to be back at the set at 7
in
the morning.
Wow.
So, before you get home, have a shower. That's needed after 11 hours in the studio. Then you have to have dinners. It was all takeaway. And then, you sit down and, what's most important, sit up building all night to prepare yourself for next day? Or do you actually trying to catch up on your sleep?
Yeah.
It was a tough one.
That brings up a point, because they said at the beginning of the episode that they shared what it was going to be with everyone. Did they share it right at the end of episode 6 then?
Well, Charlie, they are like, how they are. He's a funny guy. So I think they gave us 2 options. So it was like a banana. I don't know what it is. It's something about banana. So I think he told us we have to build like a fruit, like a banana thing, or it could be like a ball run, or they call it a marble ball run. I don't know what that was. So
we have them on the show in 2 weeks, but if you go to the Christchurch Brick Show hashtags, they also mention banana lug.
Yeah.
So it must be something about bananas and Charlie and other things, because I think Harry did a banana build for the Christchurch Brick Show. So did, and then there's a picture of, I think, Charlie holding a banana at the Christchurch Brick Show. So there's this banana leg thing going on. So that's funny that you mentioned that they told you have to build a banana in a ball run.
Yeah, it wasn't either, but but then again, we had no idea that it will be these different genres, and at the same time, how much can you prepare? Because who knew we will end up with medieval? We would have had space, but we only knew that in the morning. Basically, when they were filming it, we had no idea beforehand.
Wow. Mm.
And then, of course, you will see the next one. We get the medieval, and everyone, they're like, "Oh my God, you're so lucky because you're amazing building castles and stuff." And I'm like, the first episode, that's my first ever medieval building. I've never built anything like it.
Well, you set the tone.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, I think many of us who watched the show were just saying, "Oh, well, if they got medieval, they did the two wizards build, so they can absolutely put together a nice castle." And you did.
Yeah, but then the whole thing were about the mechanics. Get that ball running as long as time as possible, and Angus and I, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, "Yeah, this is not our challenge." And I mean, of course, we also got told that actually, aesthetics is not part of the judging. So we really felt,
Yeah, it's interesting. When we had Robin on for the first episode, he has a matrix that he creates, and a point system, and for each challenge, and it's interesting because if you listen to the instructions, that's what you need to focus on. But you get so excited and you get inspired, you go one direction, and then you kind of forget some of these rules or these things that he said. But he has a little point system that he does. And you can see it in his judging because you're like, oh, I'd pick that's the definite winner. But then when it comes to the judging, he has his points and he's like, this one, even though it may have maybe not as looked as good or as perfect, but it hit the marks where he was evaluating, because it's not always a whole package all the time.
Right.
He's evaluating very things, which I thought was interesting because we asked him when he was on. I said, "How do you do? He's the only judge?" Because we said, "Is there some other people off stage?" And it's like, "Nope, it's just me. I make this metric, and then I go and I evaluate each of them, and then put it down." I was like, "Wow!" So, yeah,
right.
Listening to
that's
this.
One benefit of the U.S. version is that they do have a chance to confer. So you have Amy and Jamie who can kind of confer about what they think they liked about each bill, whereas Robin's on his own, so he's got to come up with something which is fair, and having that matrix is the way he does that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, this I thought was a pivotal scene because when Robin came over and talked to you guys, and there was that was the aesthetic. I think what you mentioned earlier, that it was just, you're like,
and like our idea, we changed it after Robin came over, because our idea was building this huge, so you can see the wall already at the bottom there, and it was actually meant to, I don't know what we were thinking, but basically we will do like a track inside the wall, and then we will have a lot of windows, and then we will have the ball to push out all the people that will be in the window.
Oh,
so that was our idea.
Oh, that would be funny.
He's like, "No, we have to see the ball."
That would have been funny.
That would have been hilarious. So, but it's interesting that shows you how your original idea you had to pivot, because you got more clarity with regard to, and probably we could add that to the brief. The ball must be invisible.
Yeah, that is true. That was kind of, that wasn't quite as clear in the instructions that they gave. But
so basically, Robin, he said, there is the red tracks, you can use them. And then Angus, he was the one, why don't we just make like a roller coaster? And basically then he built that dragon, so it's like a fireball thing going through the castle. So that's kind of what it ended. And then I think we're planning to doing this big tower at the end.
This is just that was when you were talking, and as you were talking with the track.
That's a good still shot of you.
Yeah, well, he was in that conversation. He's talking to the camera. He's like, "We're going to build this big tower," and he's describing it. And then now, was this before you and Angus, were you working at that time on a lift, or were you just
so funny enough, like I said, that's not our strongest thing, the technical part. And well, Andrew and Harry, they got this lift, and I said, hey, let's just go there and copy it, but nah, we're just gonna build ourselves. And Angus, he did a few trials, and then I don't know, and then Robin, he came over again, and he was like, well, it's right over there.
Well,
then I just went and I just copied it, and then I just built it as tall as it fitted the tower I did. But of course, great. Now we have the lift, we have the tower, but did we think about what to do after the tower? No. So the ball, actually, it worked, and the ball came out, but instead of throwing it forward, it threw it backwards into the other builds.
Oh.
So we were trying to figure out how can we bring the ball forward.
Oh, interesting.
And we're talking when there's 45 minutes left of the challenge.
Wow.
And basically, we were trying to come up with ideas, and I'm like, it's not going to happen. And then I said, why don't we just pretend there's like a track road work? So I changed the track, made it shorter, and then I kind of made some minifigures around, so it looks like it was broken. They were trying to fix it. What you didn't see in the end, I put like probably 30 of the red balls in the bottom of the castle. So it looks like the ball have gone off the track because it was broken.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, unfortunately, the tower, it didn't work. Otherwise, we might have ended up with 12 seconds instead of 9.
No, that's cool. No, it was I beg, borrow, and steal. That's a good idea, and unfortunately, I guess
right. There isn't a regulation that says you can't do that, right? That you can't, like, especially if they got the lift as a gift, that being able to copy that isn't a against.
But that's rules, what we kind of discussed. Can we do that? Can we not? And I'm like, yeah, of course we can. Like, I was just like, we have to. If we want to have this working, we have to. I
wonder if, going back to Harry and Andrew's build, I wonder if they would have been allowed to give it to another team if they chose not to use it, because it was given to them, but it as a a kind of an incentive and an award. But if it didn't work for their build, would they have been allowed to give it to somebody else?
Well, good question. And trust me, when Peter and Henny's build collapsed, right after, Angus and we were like, we should have given them the power brick, because we want to keep them in the show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting idea too. Can you give the power brick to another team?
But you know what? It all happened so fast.
Yeah.
And before you knew it, the day was over, and they were gone.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if they could.
That would be something we could ask Robin.
Yeah.
We could say, so Robin, what would have happened if Harry and Andrew said, you know what, we can't fit this lift in our build, but it was a gift. So can we give it to somebody else? Because if they would have given you the lift, you would have absolutely used it, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
But at the
we'll
same
have to make a mental note for Robin
now, and we are playing for a spot in the final. So
yeah,
I think it was, if I have the lift and I couldn't use it, I probably wouldn't have given it to someone else.
No.
Keeping it 100, Carsten.
But you just said you were going to give the power brick.
But that was in the beginning of the
show. That was early on.
I just love Peter and Henny. I mean, oh my God. And
that was,
they were the first team that went down with COVID, and I just felt so sorry for them.
Oh, they had COVID too?
Well, I don't know if you know, but in the episode 2, the reason why they were not there was because they got
They
the
never
COVID.
said why.
That's
So
Oh,
see, this
okay.
is behind the scenes because
Yeah.
all we heard was we're not going to have a team for episode 2, and so now we
yeah.
know.
Yeah, I don't know if I should have said that, but I just feel so sorry that they had to skip
Oh my
one
goodness.
episode and then they came back and they went out because of
Yeah.
the build collapse.
And they could have been tired too, because I just got COVID a couple weeks ago, and I ended up missing a convention because of it. But
Right.
a week.
I was gonna say, Naomi, even right before that, the big thing was she introduces me as somebody else. And I think
What
it was
happened
because
is, and I said I have brain fog right now because I introduced PT as Brick Literacy instead of PT McEwen, and
Oh,
I had to re-edit the video. We started again. I said, "Welcome back to the Brickadista Broadcast Network." But I know that just having experience having COVID, and I had the later version, the Omicron version, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know
Right.
for a fact, but my brother had the earlier version, the Delta, which would have been around the time you were filming this. That was pretty intense. So I can only imagine that
Yeah.
on top of having COVID, then
Yeah.
you're going back into a challenge. You have 12 hours to build that artwork. And they did a fantastic job. And then all of a sudden, just tragic. So they must have just been absolutely gutted and exhausted because recovering as well.
Yeah. But no, that was in the beginning. This is kind of, the spot for the final, and of
so
course,
you would not have given the golden brick at this point.
Yeah, no, this is they're coming around the final turn of the track, and it's so. I do have, Carsten, I do have one question about what I love about your build is this blue outline and then how you alternated the dark and light gray. I mean, where did that come from? Was that just an artistic selection, just saying, hey, let's...
I think, well, I'm designer. My background is fashion designer. And I don't know. I think when you look at one of the old medieval minifigure, I think it's a color scheme.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But again, when you're on the spot, I don't know where it came from. It just,
it was just, it was one of those things like, that's interesting. And I personally wouldn't have, if I had a medieval thing, I probably would have been more realistic, not fanciful, but all of a sudden this kind of blends and adds a little color. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I just liked it.
It's
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
It was probably, if I'll be honest, my least favorite build of all of our builds.
Yeah.
But the good thing we knew before this, it was not an elimination. So Angus and I, we could actually just go through this, and we laughed a lot. And because we knew it was a joke in a way, like, we're the guys that don't know how to put technical things together. So we kind of just, I think we had a laugh.
You wanted to have minifigures, jumping out the windows too. So that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, but so it ended up with this, and at least it worked. So, and that was the thing, the ball have to run from one build to another, and that was basically the goal, from A to B. So the next build will be successful as well.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into these final builds here. And first up on display was Ollie and Charlie and their space age build. There's kind of an overview in the introduction. There's the old glamour shot. I will say I liked the eyes they put on the monster.
Yes, the eyes on the monster are great.
And then going back to that moonscape, that just using that lavender.
The lavender. Oh. Love it.
And I really love, for me, it's the color scheme is amazing. And then I do love that, the final hole, they have kind of built that landscape into it. I think that's brilliant. And then you can see they have made, I don't know exactly what it is in the landscape, but they have built something into it. If it's small monsters or
little crystals,
exactly.
And eggs. Yeah, like crystals and eggs.
That's like small details. I just love things like that.
Yeah. The other thing I really enjoyed about I like the little space.
Aren't they cute?
Yes, yeah. They're absolutely adorable little brick built guys. But I have an affinity for brick built characters. Just creatures or humans. I have a
feeling you will be building some of these before Ollie and Charlie come on the show.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Like, check out these space characters. And just Karsten, so when we interviewed Rachel and Jason, that PT showed up with those tree characters that they made.
Oh, yes.
He started by waving it in the camera to them.
It was just watching the episode. I was like, "Oh, those guys are so cute!" And so I built one, and they just had tons of them on the build, and I thought it was cute. So I had it in when they were there on the show.
So there you go. You have an assignment for when Ollie and Charlie show up.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, you should make one. Yeah, but it's a very clever way. They use that bush, that brick. They used it a few times during the show where they turn it upside down, and I really love it. Like they think outside the square. They turn it upside down, which I love.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's there's kind of an overview of the top, so you can see the track of the ball and whatnot.
Oh, what's interesting, when we did the final run, where it all counted, the ball went up on the red bridge and took the edge, and then went down again. It nearly went off the track.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, we were holding our breath.
Oh, no.
I think I showed that in the video where it kind of pauses, it goes up and gets stuck, and then it comes back down. Everyone's like,
yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
It corrected and went back and started going back up again. I was like, wow. That's kind of crazy.
But isn't it beautiful, the colors? I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just, let's see. All right. Next up is you guys. Karsten and Angus in the medieval age. Let's go.
Well, the good thing, our jump worked.
And Robin noted that. And that was an early on, I think. It seemed like it. Early in the build, you had this ball roll and it jumped, and you're like, I landed in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I was the ball hit into the tower, and it's meant to hit the stick. And the stick has flags in the top.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you see everything is like burning. So there's a guy standing up there with a flag. Help!
Oh.
But the ball, I think, missed the stick. So the flag actually didn't move much. You can see the flag is at the top there.
Yeah. I see that.
So it was a trigger mechanism that when the ball hit a certain time that the flag was supposed to move?
The ball basically just hit a stick, and the stick was basically the flag. So, yeah, again, probably not one of my strongest side building this mechanism. But at the same time, the balls then have to continue down to the next track. So
it's still a fun episode, though.
The tracks is great, but it was actually not easy with that big ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably couldn't take a lot of tolerance, and it would roll off one way or the other.
No, you can see behind. I'm actually doing 2 levels of circle, and when it comes down, well, you can see I have kind of the track have changed and hit where the horses are, but the track was meant to go around and round, and then after down to the big tower, and the ball went so fast that I have to make up these fences at the sides.
I see. Yeah, I see the fences here on the thing.
Oh, so that it wouldn't fall off. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Because that ball, trust me, that went off so many times.
Yeah, if it's not a straight run, it probably just doesn't have that tolerance, and it'll just roll one way or the other.
Yeah,
if it's not straight.
They were not meant to be together.
It was funny because you guys have a red ball, but at the thing they did a blue ball. Was that just the official timing ball or something?
I never noticed it. But you can see all my red balls at the
I
bottom.
do, yeah. Well, throughout the show, it's all red balls. Yeah.
I didn't know.
And
I
then
wonder.
when he did the run, Robin puts in this blue ball and it goes through, and I was like, and I thought I would have stuck with the red because I thought the red went better, especially with your guys' story, with a flaming Dragon Ball fireball shooting through.
We'll have to ask Robin. That's another Robin question.
Yeah, why he switched? Yeah.
Yeah, was the blue ball the official ball, and the red balls were the test ones that the contestants can use?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So, and I'm surprised he didn't put a bunch. Did you guys ever put a bunch through when it was all lined up with the 4 stair step thing?
Yeah. They did, and of course some balls got stuck, and yeah.
I was just curious. It's fun. I would love to see the whole thing marble run.
Yeah, and the thing is, our tower worked, but then the ball got down there and got stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you see it in the show that the lift is going.
It does. You do see it.
But then in the final ball run, of course, it's not working because there's a ball stuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the motor is not running. Yeah. Oh well. It's so interesting. I had so many ideas for this episode, and then when you're there on the spot, oh my God, the pressure and of course it's so easy afterwards. It's like, oh my God, why didn't we do this and that? And
you're also tired too. I mean,
yes,
you're exhausted from all the filming.
Yeah.
That's it. It's funny earlier you made mention of the little workers. I saw that because that I was like, oh yeah, this one track they weren't working, and then I just like, that's a funny
and you can see in the background there's a large ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And we built that because we were trying to get the ball down from the high tower.
Oh, was it supposed to come down the ladder through the ladder at one point?
Yeah, but not there, somewhere else. Yeah. But then Angus, he was like, oh, well, we have built it now. Let's use it. So he placed it up the tower and have some few minifigures climbing up.
Construction workers, medieval construction workers.
I think there was a princess on the top. They were trying to save her.
Oh.
That's
hilarious. See, I love all these details.
Yeah. Really cute.
That's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have like your minifigs in every single build, or did you ever have like season 1, Georgie and Andrew had a chameleon that they hid in every single one of their builds? Did you have anything like that?
We did actually to start out. I think the first 4, maybe 5 episodes. So we actually signed each build with CA.
Oh, nice.
So the first build I made a signature with some sausages at C and A, and the next one was the Avondale spider and the digger, and I don't know if you noticed the number plate, say CA 20 or 23.
Interesting.
I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
The next one was the 3D picture, and we did the background on the wall. We did a flower decoration as CA, and we signed the book as well at the back.
That's the housewarming gift.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I think we stopped doing it because it was never really. It was not something Robin he pointed out, and I think we stopped. Yeah, we stopped doing it after episode 4.
But see, we love these details. That now when we go back to review the episodes, we can look for that little CA. And
I thought it was really cool at the picture, because each picture you normally sign it.
Yeah.
But also I know it was behind the runway, so. The camera really have to zoom in on it if you have to see it.
Well, you know it's there.
Oh yeah.
Well, now we do too. We're gonna
Yeah,
have
that's
to
right.
zoom in on those still shots.
Yeah.
All right. And Rachel, Jason, in the Stone Age. So here they are. And there's their.
I love this shot. Oh my
It's
gosh.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, no respect. I mean, respect to, Ollie and Charlie, but for me, this was the most brilliant build.
Mm-hmm.
The way they connected things and the bones, and because I really thought this was a tough one, and I think they came up with brilliant solutions.
Yeah.
For the whole
Absolutely.
run.
No, they did. That's kind of a close, the entry start of their shot there.
See, they have done the trees upside down there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I'm
they
gonna
did.
have
Yeah,
to
I
try
see
that out.
And I like that. I really love it.
with the little bush. Huh.
The bush elements.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'll have to fiddle with that. Put that in the old tree inventory.
Let's see if I have one behind me.
I have there's a tree library I keep of trees when I build because I'm always looking for something new and different. I'll kind of look and go, oh, I'll build those, and I'll go back.
Yep, the hole goes all the way through.
Yeah.
So you can turn it upside down and put a rod in the middle.
Cool.
Actually, I think I have seen the same thing when they build a palm tree. And they get this one. Is it in light brown or?
Yes, like a tumbleweed kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have one of those. I think I might have one. Yeah, you're talking about in this color.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Use that for the
Here,
front.
I'm gonna zoom in on myself real quick. So we were just talking about this new technique. Instead of putting the bushes and the tumbleweeds this way, you reverse them, and you have a hole that goes all the way through, so you can put a rod or something in there. So, yay!
Yeah, it's very clever.
That's all right. This was a kind of a close up in there, and their cave people and fire and whatnot that they had, I guess, hidden down below.
And that's a good close up too of the upside down bush.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
In the foreground.
They did that cave, and they did really nice work in there. There was some lights and stuff, but unfortunately, it was kind of behind all their, the mechanics and stuff, so you couldn't see it. But that was very clever, building something inside, the rock formation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think their little fireplace or whatnot.
Oh wow! Look at that shot.
Yeah, here's the one with the actual ball rolling coming across their bone bridge.
That spine is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in the background there on the side, I didn't realize that was a geyser representing geyser shooting up and the ball going up the lift, which I didn't tell Robin. I think Robin said that, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. I've been to Rotorua, which has a lot of geysers, and I want to say Craters of the Moon. Is that the name of the? There's another natural park that has all of these geysers. So I think this was also maybe an homage to parts of New Zealand that have a lot of those kinds of geysers too. Yeah, we'll have to ask. We'll have to ask Rachel and Jason. We're friends now on Facebook.
Right.
All right. Last, I think there we go. Andrew and Harry in the Industrial Age. All right. There's their overall.
That really came alive when the ball was running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like when you look at it, for me, it's really hard to see what's going to happen here, right? But when the ball was running, like there was so many surprising elements, like the lifts. They managed to get the lift in, and then it goes on top of the roof.
Yes, the ball
coming down the roof. Brilliant.
I think in the next, Yeah, you can kind of see the track on the roof there when it comes up the lift and goes down the track. Yeah, because it's all kind of blacks and grays. You don't know where things are going until the ball actually starts rolling through.
Yeah.
Rolling through the track. I don't know. Is this there's kind of a.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about because it's industrial age, they went with the grays and the blacks, and it probably, going back to what we were talking about, Ollie and Charlie, if they had brought in some color in here, it would have brought some more visual interest to it.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
They want to build a large chimney.
Oh.
That was the point, I think, with the lift. It was meant to go inside a large chimney. Yeah, but they only got the lift. I mean, I know they struggled with time as well. So
yeah. Well, plus they had to rearrange things too.
Yeah, they had to shift.
Yeah.
That's always tough.
And especially the way they build it. You know, it's very fragile with these elements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're only building a couple stud connection, yeah, I can see. Wow. All right.
But the good thing for all teams, they all went from A to B. So
that's true. They did.
Yeah.
I love how they combine them together into. This is a collab.
It is I'm about to say the same thing. This is a collab.
It's exactly.
It's a No, it
the
was actually
time warp collab.
Yeah, it was neat to see and go through. But yeah, I can see the battle between function and aesthetics. It's really tough to kind of.
Plus time, right? That was another big factor, is how long can the ball stay within your domain before it moves on to the next one.
Yeah.
And we did get told as well, it's not a CBT.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah.
And we were like, oh, what is it then? You know.
And for those of you who are new, GBC is great ball contraption.
Oh, that's GB. Oh, sorry, GBC.
And they take those little soccer balls that you see in different sets. So they're about 1/5 the size of the ball that's on the Technic track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when you go to a convention, though, GBC is definitely one of the most fun things to watch, because they connect them all together into one big collab, and the poor people who are watching it, they're always maintaining it all the time.
Yeah,
it's very mesmerizing to watch.
Yeah.
The balls do their thing.
I probably should have Neil Snowball come on the show sometime. He's
there you go.
Canada. He's big into GBC.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you have watched the Australian Grandmaster.
I need to.
Well,
I've been told I need to watch Australia.
You're talking about the Grand Brickmaster one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen.
Spoiler alert, but they have one of these challenges.
Okay.
Very nice. Yeah. So we end this episode with the top two teams were Rachel and Jason, and Ollie and Charlie for their builds.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course,
they were the top two. There was no doubt.
Yeah. And then the winners were Ollie and Charlie. It was just funny because he gets excited, and then she goes, "I'm excited too." It was very cute. So.
And it'll be fun to have them on the show in a couple of weeks, where we can ask them about, the whole slide through. They also had their handshake. Now we got this banana lug thing. It's just really, really fun. And thank you so much, Carsten, for sharing so much about the build process, your experience. And so what's next for you now that you've been on LEGOMasters season 2? What are your plans?
It's been an interesting journey. COVID, from some people, they really struggled, but for me, it has been a change in life. I basically moved back to Denmark, and during the 2 years I went back and forward, I have been working as a security guy at the Legoland Castle.
Oh,
wow.
As a night shift. So I've been there only for, this summer season. And my manager last year, of course, keep asking me, like, what do you want to do in the future? And it's like, well, I have to go back to New Zealand. So I was happy just doing this. But of course, I also gave myself 3 years after I was made redundant for the airline. I knew I have to do something different in life.
Yeah.
And then I got this opportunity, and then LEGOMasters came along, which was crazy. I mean, I would never have thought that, 2 years prior. And when I was back working at the hotel, she actually got me in touch with the manager of Legoland model department.
Ooh.
And lucky enough, they called me in February and asked if I want a job as a Lego builder.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So I actually, from Monday off, they have offered me a permanent contract.
Yay!
Very nice. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, at least we know if we go to Billund, we know who to look
When we
for.
go to Billund.
Please let me know.
Will do. Yeah, I that's on my list of places that I need to go is Billund. I haven't been to Europe in about 10 years. I was looking at my last time there. I think I was in Berlin and also in Greece for a while. And I said, I have to go back to Europe. I haven't been back in so long with this pandemic and everything. But if you ever come to the States too, please let us know if you come to the Pacific Northwest, or if you're in California or any place in the U.S. It would be nice to know if you're going to come to one of our conventions.
I would love to, be part of these brick shows, and of course, the next one is here in Denmark. But I don't have time to build something.
Well, you can just show up because.
But a lot of my team, my workmates, they're gonna be there. So I think we're gonna go group together, have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And of course, get inspired.
Yeah.
Well, one of our followers, he goes, but his name is Hooded One or Dutch Hooded One. He sent me a message saying he met you in Billund and that you were very kind and nice to him, and that he's planning to come to Chicago. And he's asked me if I'm going to be there. And I said, if the new Hashima build is going to be there, I will probably be there. And I don't know if you heard about new Hashima, but it started 4 years ago in Alabama. And then it just grew to 80 builders from 8 different countries. And we're going to be interviewing Stefan and Simon next week, actually, that they're going to be on the Sunday show. But yeah, it's just, if you do come to Chicago, I know a lot of the LEGOMasters were there. We also had, I think, Floor Watkins or Watkins Floor. She from Australia was there. They had, I think, the largest number of LEGOMaster contestants in one place. I missed it this year, but I said I'm probably going to try to go to Chicago next year. So hopefully, if you're there, we'll see you there.
I would love to.
Well, thanks again for your time. And PT, did you have any other?
I was just going to ask. Do you still have your Lego there with you in Billund to build with?
Well, let's say it's my collection have grown a bit. So basically, when I moved from New Zealand, I had no Lego in New Zealand when I was cast for the show. Wow. So I had to go out and buy so much.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how much I had until I moved back to Denmark. I had 2 times 23 kilos to check in.
Wow.
So that was the only thing I brought home from New Zealand with my flight.
Is your Lego?
This is coming in a container next week.
Wow.
Oh wow!
But yeah, I have a little bit more now.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing sets.
Well, you can also just walk down to the Lego house and you can get all of those exclusive sets now. And you work there, so you probably get a discount.
Lego.
Wow.
Yes, a little bit.
Just a a tiny little discount.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it's pretty amazing. I'm very fortunate.
Well, thanks again for being on the show, and thank you, PT, for putting together that really awesome slideshow too.
No problem.
And I know that some of you who may be watching or watching the review later, thank you for listening to the Brickanista Broadcast Network. Please make sure to follow PT McEwen, p.t.mcEwen on Instagram. And our special guest is at Lego_by_1973 on Instagram.
And that's nothing to do with my age.
I was going to ask, 1973, why did you choose 1973?
Well, I'm actually turning 50 on Thursday.
Oh,
wow. Yes, it is my year.
That's the year. Okay.
That's awesome. Okay, so you said it had nothing to do with your age, but it does, right?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
People who want to see the show, go to tvnz.co.nz/Lego-Masters-NZ. And also, please like and subscribe to the stream. If you like and subscribe to the stream, send us a little comment. Tell us what you think. And you can also send me fan mail at P.O. Box 87232, Vancouver, Washington, 98687. And Karsten, we're going to close out the show, but please stay in the green room so we can chat a little bit more afterwards. So thank you, everybody, for listening and for being here. PT, always a pleasure having you, and so glad to have you back. I forgot to ask you, how was Vegas?
It was good. My son's basketball team took third. They didn't. They didn't win it.
Okay.
Third, but
still top 3. That's awesome.
Top 3. Yeah. West Coast Championships. There we go.
Wow. Well, great. Thank you, everybody. And as they say on the Brickanista Broadcast Network, may the clutch be with you. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Good show.